Alright, so it's 5 in the morning, and if you know me, obviously, you know that I have like sleeping problems and stuff like that. So I end up just watching stuff on YouTube and, scrolling through TikTok and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? Because it's too late, it's too early in the morning to like go in the studio. Because I live under my studio is my bedroom, so like, you know what I mean? Like, and I've got a neighbour with a kid that lives above me and stuff, and just trying to be nice, to my neighbours and all that kind of shit. And, at these times, this is where I kind of get an insight to the online space of like what people are thinking about and talking about. Do you know what I mean? And shit like that. Anyway, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the universe or whatever. Do you know what I mean? But I keep just, the algorithm just keeps feeding me videos about God in it. But you see, the algorithms seem to have a knack of showing me things that have blatant contradictions in them, or showing me things where people in the comments are blatantly contradicting themselves, or twisting things to try and suit their narrative. Do you know what I mean? So the first one I saw was Mace on his podcast show with Cameron. Do you know what I mean? Someone's clipped it because he's talking about, the missing piece is God. People could joke about it, but at the end of the day, the missing piece is God. I'm like, okay. Went into the comments just to see if there was any kind of perspectives that I could like, understand and stuff like that. Like, why is the missing piece God? Do you know what I mean? What, in the world that we're living in now, where someone like Mace, in the position that he's in, with the success that he has had, can put everything to God. Do you know what I mean? But then somebody else who's praying every day, do you know what I mean, trying to live a good life, not causing no bad mind, no drama or anything like that, can worry about waking up to their homes being bombed. It just always kind of baffled me, did that. And I know people are going to come to me talking about free will, this, that, and the third, but how are you really supposed to take solace in that when, in the same breath, these same people will be telling you that God knows everything, God knows what you're going to do before you do it, God made everything, God made this, that, da. To me, that's saying that God is responsible for everything that he's created, isn't it? We were made in his image. Do you know what I'm saying? We were supposed to be following his rules, but then he can just break them whenever he wants because he's the creator. And as humans, we're just supposed to swallow and be happy with that, It's bad for us to kill, maim, this, that, and the third. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, cause genocide and all that kind of stuff. But then, if he's unhappy with his creation, he can just wipe out people with a flood. Do you know what I mean? Let his creations wipe out his other creations. Do you know what I mean? If we're saying that we're his children, like, how am I supposed to sit peacefully in the knowledge that he is up there looking down and being like, some of my children are dropping bombs on my other children. And, I'm trying my hardest. I'm really trying my hardest, but there's just these things, the human in me with empathy, compassion, those things just can't sit right with me. Do you know what I mean? Like certain passages in the Bible, like, the idea that we're all supposed to be born with an element of sin, even though we've done nothing wrong to be born with an element of sin. And the innocence that we can see, the innocence that we all crave for within this world is within children. But you're supposed to think that these children are born with sin, even though they've not done anything wrong. Okay, cool. But God is the answer. God is the missing piece. God is the missing piece. Okay. Next thing that really baffled me and shit. And I'm just going to say it's all God, because I know there's different religions, this, that, and the third, but I'm just going to say it's all God in it, because all of you are saying it's God and shit. I saw another video of a speaker talking about, there's men out there that drink. Is that a sin? Is this a sin? Sleep, sex, adultery, this, murder, theft, are all of these sins? Yes. He says that person will still be able to will still have more chance of getting into the kingdom of heaven if he prays than the person who doesn't commit any of those sins but doesn't pray. This person is in a religious space, do you know what I mean, talking to his people, his congregation or whatever, you know what I mean, and people are clapping it up. I'm just like, how does this make sense? How does this make sense? How does this make sense? And how am I then not supposed to look at God as some sort of egotistical, narcissistic, jealous God, if he could look down at his children and be like, yeah, they're doing all right. But because they're not saying, yes, Dad, thank you so much, Dad. Oh, I love you, Dad. I'm going to praise you every day in church. Dad, yes, Dad. Because they're not doing that, he's going to turn around and be like, nah, you can't come in. How does that make sense? How does that make sense? Please. But this is the problem. This is the problem with religion altogether. Religion is taught by religion is taught by humans. Yeah? Humans have a tendency to twist things to fit whatever it is that they're trying to push forward. I saw an example of this in the comments of a previous video talking about Mace. And there's somebody left in the comment, but y'all, there's people out there that don't believe God is real. And someone else replied to that, yeah, that part. And then, then here come the hordes of people telling him that he's brainwashed, he's this, he's that, do you know what I mean? He's just lost his way, and the guy's like, nah, I live healthy, I eat healthy, my immune system's popping, I try and stay away from shit that I know that is going to be bad for me. I've just never had an element in my life where I've needed to look up to or praise God or go to church. That's just something that's not been a part of his life. But he believes he lives a good life and he's still a good person and shit. More people telling him he's wrong, more people telling him he's brainwashed, like, oh, wait until things go bad for you, then you're going to be wishing for God then. And that, and it's just like, well, bad things happen to everybody. Look, you can believe what you want to believe, and I'll believe what I want to believe. But at the end of the day, our lives will go in the direction that our actions deem it so for us to go into. I'm like, yeah, that's a fair assessment and shit. And then the next person just turns around and is like, well, you have a God. You may not believe in God, but you have a God. And he's like, what do you mean? Like, what are you talking about? And he's like, well, you have money, you have a job, they're all gods to you, they are your gods. Like, and he didn't even reply back to that. And I was going to reply to it, and I was like, you know what, I'm not even going to waste my time, because the fact that instead, because he doesn't believe in his God, he's going to turn around and be like, well, you believe in some sort of God. Money is God. Your job is a God. You believe in some sort of God, so, like, what? And then that goes completely against your whole argument of the justification or the of a God, because if everything is God in your sense, even the bad stuff, because there'll be people out there that believe that money is bad, money is the root of all evil. So if everything is God, then nothing is God. It's as simple as that for me. So I just got back from therapy, and I did record a video where initially I was going to touch on what was talked about in therapy, and how I got to the point of coming back to God again. But scratch all of that, because that's none of anybody's business. And that, sticking to the topic at hand. The next thing I started really thinking about is the people that used to believe, myself included, and how difficult it is for those people to have to deal with people that still believe, almost always having this condescending tone as if we're not doing it right. Like, or we are making the choice to stray away from the Lord and not accept his blessings and this, that, and the fucking third. Like, it's almost as if it's on us. It's our responsibility to have to keep the faith and have to stick it out when it gets to a point in life. And for many, it's not just me, for many others, where we just don't see the point. We have not been given any reasons whatsoever to believe that anything is going to change. And I really started thinking about it. I am a human, so I started thinking about it in a human sense. I started thinking about how a lot of people talk about God as this father figure. Yet, on earth, if a father figure was to be neglectful to his children, we wouldn't look at him fondly, would we? We would pass judgment. We would look at him in some type of way, and we would deal with him accordingly. When it comes to the child, you end up saying to the child, if they're feeling neglected and they're hoping that, you know, daddy's going to turn up. They've been waiting at the door every birthday, this, that, and the fucking third, and he's not turned up. At some point, as humans, we're going to see the pain in that child's face and say, look, stop. Really sorry, but he's not coming. He's not coming, and it's breaking my heart to see your heart shattered every time you get your hopes up. And you know, he doesn't turn up. I relay that to God. Now you could turn around and say, you know, oh well, that's gonna make that kid come up stronger, and do you know what I mean? He's gonna learn that he's gonna have to stand on his own 2 feet. Okay, cool. In that sense, then, if his father's not going to be involved in that process of the child standing on their own 2 feet, wouldn't it be a bit weird to start thanking the father when the child starts doing good for themselves? They grow up to really start doing well for themselves. They become successful in whatever area that they want to become successful in. They've been able to create a family, you know, this, that, and the third. Wouldn't it seem a bit weird if we started thanking the father that was not there, that was neglectful, that didn't help in any way, shape, or form? Wouldn't it be a bit weird if we started thanking him and praising him? It'd be strange, that, wouldn't it? But why are we willing to do that for God? Why? It'd be strange if I'm being shown there is no reason for me to have faith and believe in a person that is here on this earth. What reason should I have to believe in a being that has never given me any kind of sign that he's actually going to be there for me? If it was me on earth, and my dad turned around and started wanting to be in my life and turned up at my door and did this and did that and took the time and that's where I'd be able to say, like, oh yeah, no, have faith. Like, look, he's making the effort. You can see it. I can see it. Everybody else can see it. He's making the effort. Look at what he's done. But when that you don't actually get that to the point where other people can see it, it's not just a feeling. It's not just agreeing just for the sake of agreeing because you want to believe it too. It's like when people say, myself included, therapy saved my life. Or how did therapy do that? Well, I had a therapist there that helped me to go through all the things that, are going on in my head, all the things that negatively affect me, all the damaging behaviours that I put out, as well as all the damaging behaviours that I might receive that affect me in a way that is not beneficial. It's not good for my mental health, this, that, and the third. They have been able to help me to do that. How? By asking certain questions when they discover certain things from what I say, by taking the time. I've been in therapy for the last 10 years now. Been in therapy for the last 10 years. There's a proof that I can put to someone's help. Like if it was a friend. Or my brethren saved my life, he helped me out when I was at my lowest, when I had nobody else to depend on. Oh, how did they do that? Oh, he gave me this. He paid for this for me. He set me up in his spare room. He'd set me up with a job. This, that, and the third. There are tangible things that people can see as proof that somebody has helped them. Something has helped them. If you never get that from God, in a way that you can say, look, God did this for me. What did he do? What did God do? He got me a job. Oh, how did he do that? Well, I went to the interview and I filled in the application and, and answered the questions and showed that I have, enough experience to be able to do the job. But God got me the job. Well, why are we thanking God if it was you that did all of that? Oh, let's flip it another way. Oh, God helped me. God saved my life. How did he do that? I was down on my luck and I had money troubles, and now I've got no money troubles. Oh, okay. How did that happen? Well, I spent £1 on a lottery ticket and I got the right numbers. You spent the pound. You spent the pound or the dollar or the $2, however much fucking lottery tickets are now. It's like I've seen it. There's so many situations that I've seen where I've seen someone go through the lowest of the low, drug addiction, this, that, and the third, and get themselves out of it, but at the end they thank God. It just makes no sense to me, because where's the proof? Where's the proof that God had to? If you're breathing, how do you think you're breathing? Well, we've got doctors and nurses and biologists that actually break down the process of breathing. The fact that it's like logic goes out of the window. Logic and reasoning completely go out of the window. How am I breathing? Well, there's something in the air called oxygen that we need to breathe, and if we don't actually have that, then we die. We know this. It's been tried and tested. People have. I don't need to break it down. But we never get anything tangible like that when it comes to what has God done. We know wood is wood, metal is metal. We know the things that make up these things to be able to reproduce these things. But we can't do that with anything that God has supposedly done. And nobody is able to actually explain this properly. It's always well, just because you can't prove that he's not real, and just because I can't prove that he is real, doesn't mean that he's not. It just means that it's something that's non-existent. Because what are people really supposed to do with that when that doesn't work for them anymore? It never worked when they realise it never worked for them in the first place. I really want, if you are a believer, whichever faith it is, if you are a believer, I really want you to understand that I am really talking about this in good faith. I really am. As someone that used to believe but didn't, and there's still that remnants of I want to believe. I really want to. I grew up in it. My whole worldview was shaped around Christianity. That's what I grew up in. So I did, like, trust me, I want to believe. If there is a way to make my life better here for myself, which really and truly is going to be through my own hard work, and from what I believe, nothing to do with the God. But for me, I want to believe this so much for the people that I care about, the people that I love, that I see going through so much pain, that I truly believe does not deserve it. It's not for me. It's not. It never has been for me. Because I cannot, in good conscience, see madnesses, see other people, other humans like me. So me growing up, whether it was a poor representation of how people were in Africa or not, me growing up, I'm seeing Africa Aid, Live Aid, Child Aid, all these kind of things. And I'm finding it weird that somehow I want to ask for blessings for myself when I can see that there's people that need more blessings than me, that are more deserving of blessings than me. I find it weird. That's why whenever people would stop me in the street, well, like Jehovah's Witnesses, Christians, whatever it may be, whenever they would stop me in the street, I would always divert the attention to over there. I'm on street in Manchester in a westernized capitalistic world, with a roof over my head, the ability to put food in my cupboards and cook that food and put it in my belly. What blessings do I need? What blessings do I need that I cannot attain for myself if I work hard, put the effort in, keep my heart clean, all that kind of good stuff. Tangible things. If I go to work, save my money, I can get myself this, and this, which will then further help me to be able to do this, and this. That's something tangible that I can see, that I can truly believe in, because if I put the work in, I can get that. I can get that. Whether it's ideal or not, if I need to put food in my cupboards, I can do that. They can't. If I want to drink water, I can go to the kitchen, pour a glass of water and drink it. They have to walk miles with a bucket. Why are you talking to me? At this point now, it's not for me. I'm in my yard on an iPhone that I'm paying monthly for. It's sat in front of a studio that I can make music on. What blessings would I really need? I go to therapy in terms of helping out with my mental health, which I can see actually helps, because I'm understanding how my brain works. It's actually helping me. What blessings do I need? But when I see all of this madness going on around, people dying needlessly, bombs being dropped on homes, on innocent people that have not done anything to deserve that. Innocent people, not terrorists, not people that have gone out of their way to actually cause harm, people that have just been sat in their homes and all of a sudden, bomb. If they lose their faith, what is it that you say to them? Because no one's praying for a bomb to be dropped on their head. Nobody is. Nobody is. No one is praying for a bomb to be dropped on their head. I was going to use a different example of no one is praying to die, but no, there's examples of that. So I'll flip it round. No one is praying to have a bomb dropped on their head. So honestly, because I'm trying to make sense of all of this. I'm trying to find a way to see through the evil that is going on in this world and how it is going to change within our lifetime. Here and now. Because you know why? Because things need to change here and now. Things need to change here and now. Not when I'm dead. And I've had to live through this life, seeing people that I care about go through unimaginable pain. There's no way I can live this life, see all of that, and not get upstairs if he's real and not have questions for him. Angry questions. They're not going to be reasonable. They may be rational, but they're not. They may be rational, but they're not going to be reasonable because I'm going to be angry. Look at what I've seen. Look at what I've just seen. I'm going to ask, why didn't you intervene? But none of us have that opportunity yet because we're literally living this life right here and now. So please, I need this. I've been searching for the last 43 years. To be more realistic, say the last 32 years. Because it was from 10 years old I started to see the world as it really is. It's from 10 years old I started praying and seeing that nothing is changing. It's from 10 years old that I started to clock, maybe what these adults are telling me is actually a lie. Like Father Christmas. So I like, please, anyone who's a believer, what is it that you say to people that you know in your hearts of hearts that is something that they can take away, that I can take away? That does it involve just keep the faith? Trust me, bro. What is it that you hold on to? Tangible that you can go back to time and time again, that isn't just a choice that you are making. Because if we did, for me, the thing that would fix it all, rather than having to have us explain something that we've had to come up with to try and understand things that we don't understand about this world, you know what would fix this all? And I made a joke about it time ago, but I'm being deadly serious now. I'm being deadly serious. You know what would fix all of this? If God just popped up in the sky and given us all that disappointed dad look. Really? This is how you're going on? Yeah. Okay. That's all you'd have to say. You don't need to do anything. You don't need to fix nothing. We would fix ourselves. You know why? Because the whole world has got tangible proof that God exists. All the people that believe, they would be rejoicing. See, look, I told you so. And everyone who didn't believe, myself included, we would have to fix up. We would have to change our ways. We would have to change our way of thinking. That would fix the whole world. Everyone who used to believe, who used to be a believer, is going to have the same question. Why hasn't he showed up yet? Not his son, not these signs, not a burning bush. Him. Where is he? There's a whole world. There's so many people on this world that if they believe that we need him now more than ever. So where is he? this is what I mean. This is what ends up fucking me up about these situations, because it's like that's how it feels to people like myself that don't believe anymore. We can't shake this feeling of if we are brought up to believe that he is some sort of father figure, how are we supposed to shake the feeling of him being an absentee father or a neglectful father? Like how do you shake that? It's like with Mac. I know that she's been going through hell. I know that she's been going through hell. I know you've been going through hell. Do you know what I mean? I've seen you go through it. I've seen you put in the work, tried this method, tried that method, this, that, and the third, everything, yeah? And I'm so happy that you're in a better situation now than you were before. And you're actually happy. You are actually happy as a result of being in a better living situation, because you are living here now. I can see that you are happy about that. I don't know how I'm supposed to turn around and unironically, not as a figure of speech, think to myself and say, thank God. Where I cannot see his hand at all. I can't see his hand in anything that you've done. I can see what you've done to get yourself out of the situation. Because if you were to just sit there and be like, oh, God's going to deal with it for me, and not do anything at all, it's you who would be looked at weird. It would be you who would be told to get up off your ass and try and sort out your situation. You can't wait for God. You can't wait. God's not going to fix all of your problems. You've got to learn to stand on your 2 feet. Okay, as an example I used before. Okay, if that's the case, then I'm going to praise you as the human for getting yourself to a better place. Not him. Not him. Because here's the contradiction. The same people that will tell me to put my trust in him, when it's time to put my trust in him, are the same people that will tell me, no, I've got to go out and do the work. God bless me with 2 foot, 2 hand, mind in my head, to go out and do the work. Why I wait upon God for? Eh? I come from Jamaican family, in it, so what am I waiting on him for when I have the ability to go out and try and sort the situation out myself? Do you not see the contradiction there? Do you not see how confusing things like this get? On the one hand, the Bible is talking to us about second pair of footprints in the sand. That can't really run today because I live in Manchester and Manchester is covered in concrete. Okay, I'm making a joke. But if I was actually being serious about that, people would tell me, oh, not to take it literal. Okay, if I'm not supposed to take the words from the Bible literally, then the only thing I have left to take literal is the literal life that I am living right now, the literal actions that I am experiencing from other people. That's literal, because that is what I'm living, that is what I am experiencing. It's neither the next excuse or when I'm talking about all these bad actors and people that twist the word of God and this, that, and the third, they're misinterpreting it. Okay, wouldn't it be amazing if we had a book that talked about God that just could not be misinterpreted? Wouldn't that be amazing? None of all of these versions, just one version, God's firm word. None of these stories of history of man. No, what God actually did, what he says, what his actual word is. And then that actual follow through if we don't do it. Because there's no way on earth that anybody can actually say, yeah, God follows through. Who for? Because I'm sorry, right now we can think of people that are rightly deserving of this follow through, and it's not happening. It's not happening, and as a result, innocent people that don't deserve what they are getting are suffering. Again, how do we square this circle? I want to believe, like, on the way back I was thinking about a point in time where I was talking to my brethren, and we were talking about this. We were talking about God and faith, and do you know what I mean? My struggles with it, and you know how he keeps his faith. And we talk about these moments that we may have, or at least I talk about these moments that I may have where I'm like, I can't explain it. I don't know what to call it, but things are happening, and I don't know how it's ended up turning around for the better, but it has. And now I will naively say, so something's got to be up there. Something's got to be up there doing something, because I can't explain that. I can't explain how I've been able to get through this situation. Now, believers will be quick to tell me, no, that's God. But again, just because something nice has happened for me does not excuse the suffering that other people are going through that don't deserve it. And it makes me think, okay, why is it that when I'm going through a little bit of struggle and it turns around, it's God who's done it for me? Do you know what I mean? But for people who are going through way more struggle than me, that would really need and deserve that turnaround, God's nowhere to be seen. How am I as a human that has empathy and compassion for other humans? How am I supposed to make sense of that? Other than, oh well, karma. It must not be his time. Like, one, the fact that it's us who are making that distinction, not actually getting a sign from God himself to be able to go, oh no, it's just not his time. Or how have you come to that? How have you come to that conclusion? Because God came down and did this, and this. Did that actually happen? Yeah, I was there with him. Yeah, man. It looked like this. It looked like this, and this. And this happened. And the person you got dealt with, yep, that's exactly how it happened. I couldn't believe it. Madness. God is real, man. He just backhanded me in the face. Like, why does that never happen? Why does that never happen when it's not even a case of when we think it should happen, when it needs to happen. When it needs to happen. Because nobody is going to be happy ever with having to deal with undeserved grief. And people getting bombs dropped on their home. They're leaving people behind that are having to deal with undeserved grief. How is that something that we can just look up and go, mysterious ways, grand design, well, I believe he's working for me, so...
Your family has nothing to do with what God is doing and about to do. You will be the first millionaire in your family. How does your mama feel about that? You would be the first one to graduate. How does your mama feel about that? You will be the first to get into the NFL or the NBA or go to college and graduate from college. How do the people in and around your life feel about what God is doing for you individually? Your people, your family, your surroundings, your environment will try and convince you that you are like everybody else. Recognize the power of individuality. Where I'm going, I'm gonna get to a point where I'm gonna try and hold on to as many familiar faces as I can. But you realize that where God is about to take you, you ain't gonna be able to look to the left or right and see nobody because nothing about God is familiar.
Okay, I had to like comment on this at least, and that because initially it just doesn't make any sense. Okay, initially it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever, and that your family has nothing to do with what God has in store with you. That's how he starts. Okay, then he says you may become the first millionaire in your family. How does your mum feel about that? Instantly, I'm thinking to myself, my mum would be buzzing, especially if I become a millionaire. Like, they're not talking about getting a great job and a great promotion. Tyrese is not talking about that. He's talking about his situation. Fair play, fair play. A lot of people could only talk about, their experiences. That's fine. I've got no problem with that. But it's just the questions that are being asked and put towards, the public, because this is a public interview on Club Shay Shay, isn't that? So if he's asking me, how would my mum feel about me becoming the first millionaire in the family? She'd be buzzing. She'd be well happy. Not just for the fact that, it's something that I've worked towards and become successful in, but because she knows that, like, as my mum, I'm gonna make sure that she's sorted out because she's my mum. She brought me up, she looked after me. She's my mum. Second thing he says, you may be the first person to graduate from college. Now that's something that I can relate to. I didn't necessarily graduate but I was one of the first people in my family to go to college. Now, I am the oldest in my family in terms of the kids. So that comes into play there as well. And shit. But again, my mum was buzzing. My mum was buzzing when I got into college, when I started, taking up higher education and things like that. But then he reiterates, your family has nothing to do with God, with what God has got in store for you. Okay, so he's talking about jealousy then. He must be talking about jealousy. He must be talking about envy and stuff like that. And then that's where it kind of switches, because it's like, well, why would someone else be jealous? Why would somebody else be envious of my situation or, somebody else's situation within the family? And is the family struggling? Is the family going through some sort of turmoil? Do you know what I mean? That they're finding it hard financially? Do you know what I'm saying? It's not like, what is the actual family dynamic? Because all of us can experience jealousy and envy and this, that, and the third, but there's always a reason behind it. There's always a reason behind it. And I find it interesting when it comes to the subject of family, because any person off the street, do you know what I mean? You can deal with them. They're jealous or you don't stick around them anymore, this, that, and the third. But your family, you're going to know them more than a lot of friends that you have, because they're your family. You're going to know their situations a lot more than anybody else outside of your family, because they're your family. So then I started thinking to myself, because of the question that was left in the caption, your family has nothing to do with what God has planned for you. Do you feel bad, or should you feel bad for aspiring for more? Okay. And then further in the video, Tyrese is talking about, embracing your individuality, the power of your individuality. Okay, nothing wrong with that at all. What has that got to do with family? What has that got to do with God's plan for you in regards to your family? And then instantly, this is all just 5-10 seconds of really thinking about it. Instantly, I'm like, what's God doing for them then? What's God doing for my family? Because if I'm coming from a family that's struggling, Do you know what I mean? And I can watch my mum work and work and work and work and work and get upset because the situation isn't getting better. I can watch my brothers and sisters work and work and work, and we're all God-fearing. We're all doing the right things, this, that, and the third. This is a hypothetical, but we're all doing the right things, this, that, and the third. We're all going to church, but only one seems to be getting blessings more than the others. And if we're putting it down to God because my family has nothing to do with what God has got in plan for me, would it be wrong for me to understand the jealousy if all of us are praying, all of us are going to church, all of us are trying to be good people, but only one of us is getting blessings and the rest of us are having to struggle? Of course, that would make me feel bad about aspiring for more, because I would want the rest of my family to be able to enjoy in either the fruits of my labor or to be able to get for themselves. So rather than looking at the people in my family, I'm going to start looking at God, because again, as I said in previous videos, I never pray. If I'm going to pray to God, it's never for myself. Never for myself. It's never for myself. So if I'm struggling, I'm struggling. If I'm struggling or I'm in a family that is struggling, but then I start getting blessings, I'm going to be praying to God. Yo, thank you for the blessings. Please, God, can you bless my mum? She's been working hard. Please show her the way. Give her guidance so then she doesn't fall into evil and rare. I'm going to do all of that. And if I don't see that happening, if I don't see any change, I'm going to start looking at God, innit? Why is it that I'm going to start asking, why am I the one that's getting blessings when I feel like there's other people more deserving than me that should be getting blessings? Then that leads me into, I see a lot of successful people out there that are not religious. Don't follow God, don't go to church, don't pray, don't praise him, nothing. They just work hard. From what I can see as a human, they work hard. They follow the rules. They work hard. They don't badmine nobody. Do you know what I'm saying? Boom, they're successful. I'm going to start looking at that and thinking, why is he getting blessings when he doesn't even acknowledge you, God? But then the people that do acknowledge you, for some reason, they're not getting no blessings. Is it bad for me then, in the eyes of God, for me to want more for other people and for me to work towards trying to set other people up because they've not been fortunate to have the same blessings as me? Is that wrong in God's eyes then? And this is why, when it comes to the word of God, I am more likely to listen to somebody who's on my level than to listen to a millionaire. Because in the same breath, isn't money supposed to be the root of all evil? So why is God blessing one person with supposedly the root of all evil, money, success? Why is that happening? And again, I'm not questioning the word of God, because it's not God who's come down and told me these things. It's not God who came down and taught me his word. It's humans. It's you lot. But just like Tyrese now, you seem to have a hobby of twisting whatever it is that God is supposedly doing or God is supposedly saying just to fit your narrative. Because in that same Bible, God will be talking about looking after family, looking out for the ones less fortunate than you. This, that, and the third. Interesting. How do we square that circle?